Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a very important topic. I'm sure when the Paytm a Paytm announcement was done as to the company is going to come up with its IPO, and for those dukhi atmas who had applied for every single IPO before Paytm and hadn't got allotment for even one of the IPOs, I'm sure they were singing this song ke कैसे कैसों को दिया है ऐसे वैसों को दिया है मुझको भी तो लिफ्ट करा दे. So I'm sure that might have been the thought process before this entire listing thing happened. And of course, जिन लोगों की सुन ली भगवान ने and those who got the allotment, तो lift तो उनको मिल गई, but not in the upward direction. They got the lift in the downward direction, unfortunately. Well, for those who saw the video which I had posted on our channel for Paytm, and that I had very clearly mentioned that fundamentally there are certain problems in the company. So, those who don't have the risk taking capacity, you should not ideally subscribe. And in fact, the live stream that I had done, uh, I had very clearly mentioned in my live stream that I am not going to apply for the Paytm IPO, and I'm glad I did not apply for it. Things played out, to be really honest, things played out worse than anyone had expected. Now what we are going to do is that this entire live stream I'm going to divide into three major parts. Okay, which three major parts I'll tell you right away. The very first thing I'm going to focus on is the issues that Paytm is actually facing, because of which maybe the IPO did not do well. What happened at the listing, whatever happened, uh, why did it happen? What are the top five issues? I've listed down certain issues and I'm going to discuss them with you. After five issues, I'm going to talk about five strengths of the company. I mean, even if there are certain issues, there are certain problems in the company, does it mean that company does not have any edge over others? Does it mean that मतलब बेकार ही है क्या सब कुछ? Does it have certain strengths? Yes or no? I'm also going to highlight few out of those. And towards the end, I'm going to surely talk about a conclusion that if I would have been the person who would have gotten allotment, as I mentioned, I have not even applied for it. But had I been one of the people who would have gotten an allotment, what would I have done? Would I have quit? Would I have stayed invested? Exactly is what I'm going to discuss towards the end. That would be the concluding part. Chalo, so for those who saw the video, I'm sure you can recollect that Paytm has three major business lines, right? The very first one is payment services, second one is commerce and cloud services, and the third one is financial services. So if I'm talking about payments, so first issue, the very first issue is about too much of competition, and that too from renowned market players. So I'll just give you a simple example that in each and every vertical that Paytm has, they do have a lot of stiff competition, very heavy competition, and each and every segment, right? So if I take an example of payment services, agreed that Paytm is like one of the pioneers, but still in the payment services category, we do have GPay, we have PhonePay, and who cannot mention UPI, which actually brought in a revolution in the Indian digital payments. In fact, I was recently reading a report which mentioned that India's digital payments also way to surpass are way too higher as compared to China as well. So it's very important for us to understand the very first issue, which is too much competition from renowned market players in each and every segment. First segment I talked about payment category, GPay, PhonePay, UPI. Second is commerce and cloud services. Now, if I'm talking about commerce and cloud services, this specific segment involves what? It involves movie ticketing, it involves event ticketing, it also involves Paytm First games. So if I'm talking about this area, ticketing area, we have Book My Show as a competitor. If I'm talking about hotel bookings, we have Make My Trip as a competitor. If I'm talking about selling certain products on their e-commerce platform, Amazon, Flipkart, they also sell many products over their own platforms. So again, huge and renowned players in this second space as well. Now, what about the third space? That is into fintech. Not exactly fintech, but I part of that, sure, no doubt about that. Fintech is a larger word, I can say. Out of that, I'm talking about financial services specifically. Now, in financial services, so I'm sure you are aware that one of their business models is that through this financial services, they are also going ahead with something like a Paytm payment bank. Paytm is also into equity trading. In the F&O derivative segment, they are also selling insurance on their platform. They are having tie-up with credit card companies through their platform. But if I'm just as an example, if I'm talking about insurance, PB FinTech, Policy Bazaar, it's one of the big players again for this segment as well. If I'm talking about issuing credit cards, then something like an HDFC, ICICI, SBI, they are their biggest competitors as far as credit cards are concerned. If I'm talking about the broking business part of this company, Paytm, then see, if I'm talking about discount broking, Zerodha, Upstocks, these are brands which are so popular in this space. So let me just quickly sum up the very first issue, that is too much of competition. And I mentioned the three categories that the company is into: payment services, commerce and cloud services, and financial services. And in every segment, they have huge competition, right? What is the second issue? Second issue, I believe that there is too much in the plate. So, uh, if I talk about one area, let us say insurance, are they the leader? No. If I'm talking about movie ticketing, are they the leaders? No. If I'm talking about selling merchandise on the platform, are they the leaders? No. They are out of so many things that they are doing. Games, are they the leaders? No. Out of so many things that they are doing, they are leaders only in one. And what is that? Payments. And unfortunately, if I'm talking about payments, that is a segment that right now I believe cannot be monetized. Simple. If Paytm starts collecting fees from people like you and me for making payment through Paytm, we are not going to do that, right? Because we can do UPI free of cost. Amazon, PhonePe, everything, every single player is offering free of cost. Then the payment segment, which is the area in which they are having basically the market leader position, that is what unfortunately they are not in a position to monetize it because of the UPI led disruption in this entire payment space, right? So that was the second issue. Too many things in the plate. And if they were to focus on one, wherein they are the competitor, that cannot, wherein they are the leader, that can't be monetized, right? Third one is the profitability issue, which is the most burning issue for Paytm. So the very first one is, in fact, in their RHP also, they have very clearly mentioned that company itself cannot see visibility with respect to profitability in the near term due to operating expenses, due to increase in operating expenses. Company itself is mentioning that it is difficult for them to turn profitable in the near future. How can investors like you and me get confidence on that? In fact, I'm sure everyone has read about this over the news. They have seen about this, that Macquarie, one of the famous research organizations, they had mentioned, in fact, in their report, that Paytm might not be FCF positive by financial year 2030. So FCF positive, free cash flows positive. So by 2030, no free cash flows, and we are paying such a huge amount for the company's IPO, right? So this is again a very burning issue, I can say. Profitability. RHP mentions that company can't see profitability in the near term because of heavy OPEX, operating expenses. And the Macquarie report says that by 2030, free cash flows also, they can't see any visibility of free cash flows as a positive cash flows. Next one is what happened after listing. There are many companies which post listing also continue the upward trajectory. They go on going higher and higher and higher. Now, what happened with Paytm was that the Dukhi Atmas were very less. Okay, why? Because the issue got oversubscribed. I can't recollect the exact number of times, but somewhere around 2 point something times the issue got oversubscribed. So there were very less players who did not get an allotment in the Paytm issue, right? So if almost all of the people were satisfied, that too, if a share is getting listed at discount, it will be very difficult that people will join in and buy more and more at a discounted price. People would want to wait. They would want to see the price settling in. So all in all, with all the buyers, be it RRI, be it HNI, be it QIB, everyone was more or less, they had gotten whatever they wanted in the IPO itself. So there was a more of supply rather than more of demand building on the listing day. And maybe that is the reason why Paytm had to close at such a level where there were no buyers and almost all sellers. So that was what happened on the listing day, right? And last point, I would want to mention about the key problems that have been highlighted by Macquarie in their report. Okay, now this has so many points, but I'll quickly try to wrap it up. The very first point that Macquarie says that company has a very complicated organizational structure. Okay, number one, see, more and more complicated organizational structure, as an investor it becomes difficult to analyze what is happening where. Okay, so if this corporate structure is very complex, I as a third person start feeling lesser and lesser comfort on what is actually happening, which entity is holding shares in which entity. So it's like A is holding shares in B, B in C, C in D, D is again holding part in B, and something like that. Okay, something like a cobweb, you can imagine. So if it's a very complicated organizational structure, investors don't prefer that to a big extent, right? Number one. Number two, related party transactions apparently are much higher in the company. By the way, all these points, the last fifth point that I've started to discuss, all these are in the report by Macquarie. I read the report, and based out of that, I'm telling you. Okay, the first point in the Macquarie report was about complicated organizational structure. Second point, again from the Macquarie report, that a large number of related party transactions. Third, they said the churn in the top level management. So top level management is also not stable. I mean, there's a lot of churn in out in the top level management. That also they see not as a very good sign. Okay, and fourth one they mentioned here is that it's a very thinly staffed board with 75% of the members being based out of India. Okay, so we're talking about board, and 75% of the members of the board are based out of India. Then again, Macquarie says we are not really comfortable with that, right? Uh, One important point about the entire report, which actually uh, got so highlighted. Why? Because when the IPO was about to list, before that, around 8:30, I remember reading. I remember seeing on TV that they have mentioned that Paytm target price, as per Macquarie report, is 1,200. Now you can imagine all those who had gotten the allotment in the IPO, they might be like, "Hey, Bhagwan, ye 1,200 kahan se aaya?" No one would have believed at that point in time that it can list at a discount, and that too such a heavy discount, closing at almost the lowest point in day. And that is not enough. I guess it closed somewhere around 1,500, and Macquarie's report says that it can go further. Their target price is 1,200. They've also mentioned that this company is like a cash guzzler, something like a cash burn kind of a company. Okay, so all these last 5 points were in the Macquarie report. So let me just quickly cover up all the issues that I discussed. Number one, too much of competition from all the renowned players in the market. Too many, too much in the plate. Too many businesses to be catered to be handled, and market leader only in payments which can't be monetized. Third one, profitability. I discussed that in the Macquarie report. Again, they say positive free cash flows by 2030 difficult. IPO size huge, everyone was satisfied. And last one, key problems, in which I highlighted a number of points, right? Now let us move. So as I mentioned, does it mean that there are only and only problems and nothing else in the company? So that's not the correct answer. Of course, there have to be certain positive points as well. Now, what all could be the positive points? Number one, of course, Paytm is a strong deal, no doubt about that. In fact, like we say, Xerox kaduni. So get a Xerox for me. So Xerox is the name of the company. Get get this photocopied for me. So photocopy is the verb, but we use, we use Xerox as a verb instead of that. Xerox leke aao, right? Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows that JCB merges. JCB is the name of the company. It's a crane. It's an earth moving machine. So for an earth moving machine, we say JCB, right? Similarly, many a times people say Paytm karo, right? So what is Paytm karo? It's like actually like a verb being used rather than the name of the company. That is the level of popularity that Paytm has. So I think that is a sign of a very strong brand. It has a very amazing recall value, no doubt about that. That's the first strength of Paytm. Second one, I personally believe that everyone should understand the Paytm business model also. Okay, so they are trying to go through a funnel. Okay, I'm not from the marketing stream, but whatever I understand about marketing, about business development, it's called as a marketing or business development funnel. Now, in the funnel, at the outset, it's as good as you try and acquire as many number of customers as you can. Okay, these would be generally your free customers. So if I'm opening an account with Paytm and if I'm using the services of Paytm to make digital payments, okay, I am not actually paying anything extra to Paytm, but I'm getting used to their app. Okay, I'm getting familiar, and anything anytime happens, I'm going to quickly use their app for anything and everything, right? So first of all, they have acquired me as a customer. Example, now if they start giving me more and more services into the app, maybe by charging a small amount, then maybe I may get converted from a free customer to lower down in the funnel as a converted customer who is paying money to the brand. So maybe that is the entire thought process, where you acquire customers through the funnel process, and towards the end, by selling them more and more financial products, like what, like we discussed, credit cards, they're going to earn commission on that. Insurance, they're going to earn commission on that. Broking service, they're going to earn commission on that, right? So they are wanting to offer more and more financial products through their platform, and they are maybe attempting to generate more and more revenue out of all these other financial products, commission basis. Okay, so that is the thought process. Now if you agree with this, that it's okay to burn cash in the initial stages, I can't say initial, almost 10 plus years now, but I mean, I read one news article which said that there are so many American companies which are still in losses, but they have millions and billions of dollars of valuation, right? So if American companies can do it, why can't Indian companies? That was one thing which I happened to read. Okay, so second strength, I can say that they are, instead of talking about that as a strength, they're trying to use this as a business model. If you agree with it, and if you say that's fine, they're acquiring a lot of customers, then that will be a strength. Okay, that's upon your thought process. Number three, a strength for the company is that more and more uh, ease at which they are giving a lot of basket of products in just one app. See, right now the median age of India, I've discussed this so many times in my member special fundamental analysis, that median age of Indians is around 28 right now. So given a preference to youngsters say we want good customer experience, we want good convenience. If I have that, I'm ready to pay a little bit extra. I don't care. I just need, I don't want to download 10 apps for 10 things. I want one app which gives me everything under one roof, and that too as a good customer experience at a good convenience. If that be so, I'm happy with that. So if that be so, then that can act as a strength for the company in currently as well as in the coming few years as well. Fourth one is that, see, the company uh, has proved itself in the past by doing uh, a disruption in this entire space few years ago, by bringing in the digital payment thing in India, right? Before Paytm, no, in fact they were the pioneers, right, who brought in digital payments in India. So if they had the capacity to do something completely new 10, 12 years ago, maybe if they try to do something new in another 2, 3 years, we don't know about that, but if they try to do that, then well and good. So that can act as a strength if their level of innovation remains intact, right? And the last one is that right now, from where can they generate money? So the big problem, if you remember, was about the profitability, right? Then from where can they generate a lot of money? So there is a, so what these apps do is that, as I mentioned, they try to sell a lot of financial services and earn through commission. Now if I'm talking about selling loans, okay, selling loans, in the case, you will get personal loans through their platform. Now they'll have a tie up with some bank or financial institutions, and or if they may themselves get a small finance bank license or something like that, then their profitability can be increased if they are able to sell certain types of loans which are not rate sensitive. Now which are not rate sensitive loans, so for example, a personal loan, if a person is in need of funds, he or she might not look at the rate of interest. Okay, uh, one more example of an interest of a loan can be a uh, consumer durable loan. Okay, so in that case, these loans, if the company is able to sell to a great extent, then it can surely make an attempt to bring the company into a profitable position. But again, there is a problem here, unfortunately. What is the problem? Again, I happen to read that in I guess in the Macquarie report only, which said that obtaining a small finance bank license for the company could be difficult. Why? Because Chinese controlled firms own more than 30% stake in Paytm. Okay, so if, as I mentioned, if they are able to sell a lot of loan which is not rate sensitive, it can be a plus point for them. But problem is that because of the Chinese firms holding more than 30%, there is a possibility that company might not be able to uh, make that kind of a profit if they don't get the banking license. Okay, so I hope you have understood the base issues of the company, the base strengths of the company. Now, before I do a final conclusion on this, that ideally what should a person do, should a person stay invested, should a person sell off and book losses, what should be the thought process? So before that, I have to make an important announcement on the channel. Would not take more than 1 minute, but it is about a meetup. It is going to be a first meetup after the pandemic. I remember I had done my first meetup in Bengaluru. It was almost 2019, if I'm not mistaken. 2019, I had done a meetup in Bengaluru, and post that, I was wanting to do a lot of meetups, but because of uh, uh, this entire pandemic, I was not able to do it. But finally, I'm going to get a lot of city preferences in the chat box. I know that, and I've started getting immediately Bengaluru, Bengaluru, please. Uh, so to be honest, I already have. Um, uh, okay, wait. So many comment section. I mean, so many comments coming up. I am already going to visit this place for some event, and I thought that because I'm anyways going to go to that event, let me also take an opportunity to meet all the subscribers who are staying in that city. So where is the meetup? It is at Kochi. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm anyways visiting that city because of an event, and I thought, let me take that opportunity to just go and meet everyone. It's a very tight schedule for me, so I'm going to start the meetup at 6:45 a.m. and it's going to be a fun thing wherein you'll have 7 to 7:45 session, how to meet, how to plan your finances. Along with that, I'm going to discuss one or two stocks, fundamentally, technically both. 7:45 to 8 is going to be a Q&A session, and 8 to 8:30 it'll be coffees and selfies with me, and of course prizes to be won, because we're going to have certain quizzes as well. It's going to be fun. So those who are in Kochi would surely love to meet you all. It's all about bashing Tuesday blues with CARR, right? And for those who can make I mean, I know it's a Tuesday morning, but I have a pretty tight schedule. I'm coming to this place on Monday afternoon, and I'm leaving on Tuesday afternoon back to Pune. But then I thought that let me at least try and make this effort to at least come and meet everyone in Kochi if possible, right? So I'm just going to pin the link here. So anyone who can come down, I'm just pinning. Oh, Jayesh says that is why Anush was asking who is from Kochi in the Discord channel. Kya baat hai, kya baat hai. Acha, by the way, if anyone is from Kochi and wants to, help in our entire meetup, surely welcome. You can drop in your email if you're from Kochi at support@rachanaranade.com. पुण्यात तर होणारच आहे, त्याच्यात काही वादच नाहीये. पुणे तिथे काय होणार, पुण्यात तर मराठीत होणार आहे. So Pune meetup will happen most probably in December or latest by January. Okay, so this time it is going to be Kochi. So those who are staying in and around Kochi would really love to meet you all. If you can make it, it'll be great, right? Mumbai बाजू में है. I know that. ठीक है. So Pune, Mumbai, we'll talk about it. No worries. Okay. चलो. So those who want to enroll for the meetup, because we have limited seats. The hall capacity is just 250. So I said, let me just try out with a smaller audience comparatively, because I think if I do a meetup in Pune, I'll have to book some auditorium, right? Not a small hall will not be enough in Pune or in Mumbai. So Kochi, I'm starting small with a 250 seating arrangement. So it's like a limited seats thing. Don't want to have a huge crowd due to COVID restrictions, right? So those who want to enroll, you can surely enroll. It will give me some idea for doing the planning part, right? Chalo. So with that, coming to the final conclusion of this video, what should I do? Should I book loss? Should I wait? Question number one: what was your thought process when you had applied for the IPO? Are you like an IPO lottery person? मिळाली तर मिळाली, नाही मिळाली तर गेलं, मिळाली तर बघू, profit book करू, loss book करू, whatever. So there are some category of people who believe that I am going to invest, or I am going to apply for this IPO only and only with a thought process of exiting at the time of listing. Okay, if you are that category of a person, then what are you going to do? Are you going to book losses? Answer is yes. Yes, because your thought process was only to get a listing gain. And if your thought process is only a listing gain or a listing loss, then in that case, you are looking from the company only from a ultra short term perspective. You are not looking at the company from a long term perspective, right? So that is the reason why, if you had applied only with a thought process that listing ke time pe I'll just quit, that is it, then ideally yes, you should book a loss. Okay, but when you had applied for the IPO with knowing this, I know that the company is not into profit, I know that it can't be profitable for the next few years, but I believe that whatever business model they have, they might be in a position to get into profits at a later stage, maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. If you believe, you have a strong faith in that brand, then maybe if if you are from that thought process, from a long term investor perspective, if you have thought about while applying for the IPO only, then ideally yes, you should stay invested. In fact, one can also think about averaging out at 1200 levels, the level which Macquarie has mentioned in their report. Okay, so if I had invested in the, as I mentioned, I have not applied for the IPO, but had I invested in the IPO with a long term perspective, I would have thought about averaging at 1200 level. Okay, but because I have not entered right now, I might think again. I'm not sure whether I'm going to re-enter at, I'm going to enter at 1200 or not. But that is how you have to think about it. Had you, so last conclusion, just quickly wrapping it up for you, two types of people. Number one, lottery category people. They are interested only and only in listing gains, nothing else. They really don't want to understand the business model. If you're of that category, I'm a lottery person, you have to book losses. You have not even thought about the company from a long term perspective. Okay, by the way, I'm not a SEBI registered person, everyone knows that, everyone has read my disclaimer 1001 times. Okay, I'm just telling you my thought process, number one. Okay, number two, if you are category of a person who had thought about the company from a longer term perspective, that yes, some point in time it might come into profits, you believe in their business model, then yes, one can think about waiting till the company becomes profitable, right? Well, I think that was my whole analysis about Paytm. If you have liked it, as usual, 3,500 approximate viewers right now, and not even 1,000 likes. Last 30 minutes we are talking about Paytm. Till now, I've not even taken one single comment, and I've been talking and talking and talking. So 3,500 viewers and 927 likes. So if possible, hit that like button, smash that like button, take the number of likes to at least 2000. So quickly, till then, Prithviraj asks what types of insurances one must have compulsory. There's no compulsion as such for a life insurance, there's no compulsion for a health insurance, but if you ask me, I will make you compulsory. It will always be better if you have a life insurance and a health insurance. Good for you, good for your family, right? uh, Ramesh ji says, I bought at 1560. That's my first one third. Kya baat hai, Ramesh ji? So see, you have now that's what I call as a thought process, right? You're having that vision. You're saying that okay, I know about this company, and you have invested only one third. I'm so happy about that. So if it goes to 1200, maybe you can think about your second one third. If it goes below that, then maybe 3 on 3. Right? Okay. Garvit says, why did Sigachi hit lower circuit for 2 consecutive days? See, any company of late which has gotten listed at fiery listing, some kind of some kind of correction is going to happen. So don't worry on that. FinPro says, ma'am, please visit Delhi also. Delhi का थोड़ा सा pollution कम होने था. Sorry, ऐसे नहीं. But I believe that pollution levels are pretty high right now. I don't want to again be bringing more and more people from here to there again, coming in the plane and all that. So maybe somewhere around, let's see, Jan, Feb, March, somewhere around that might come. Not yet planned, right? One person is asking, ma'am, where in Kochi? the moment you register for the event, my team will be sending you the location of the meetup. I remember 2 years ago when I had done the meetup in Bengaluru, and I had set up the meetup in a cafe, and I mean, it got the cafe had barely 100 capacity, and when the registrations were over, people were continuously calling that cafe guy and were asking, मेरा मेरा कुछ setting करा दो ना, I want to come and meet her. So that person got mad. So I thought I should not be disclosing the name on YouTube. Once you register, you will surely get an email telling you about the location where it is exactly. Okay. Mm, Praful Kadav says, what is your view on latent shares? Amazing. I was super busy during that time frame. That is the only reason why I did not do a video on latent view. But fantastic company, no doubts on that, right? But I didn't want to make this stream like our normal 1 hour live streams. So that is the reason why I'm not going to take it longer. So I hope you have enjoyed this session about Paytm, and I hope you have understood what could be the scenario for any person. And I hope you have also understood about the meetup at Kochi. So if you have friends in Kochi, tell them that CRR is coming to Kochi, right? All right, so that's it from my side, guys. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.